Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self-love, self-care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about professional self-care. I'm Lady Bounce.
And I am Picket Fence.
You got the mindfulness minute for us for today?
Word up. I've come to believe that each of us has a personal calling that is unique as the fingerprints. And the best way to succeed is to discover what you love, then find a way to offer it to others in a form of a service. Working hard and also allowing the energy of the universe to lead you. Now that quote is by Oprah Winfrey. And that's our mindfulness minute. And before we get started, let's like Lady Bounce said, professional self-care. Now, when we talk about professional self-care, that involves sharing your strength and your gifts, having clear professional boundaries, understanding your purpose and your role. Examples include knowing your roles and responsibilities, request regular performance reviews from your manager, negotiate your needs, have clear professional boundaries, take your full lunch break, upskill by attaining trainings and programs, and keep a diary for your to-do list. Now that's a brief description of what professional self-care is. Along with that, I would also say that professional self-care involves moving yourself forward in your profession and not being afraid to move yourself forward in your profession. A lot of times we feel like we either get comfortable in the position we're in. We may not feel that we have the skills to go to a higher position or apply for a job that even though we would love to have this job, we sometimes don't feel that we're qualified to have that job, or we feel that this institution might not want to give me the job. And also it involves, sometimes we become stagnant or we find ourselves unemployed or in between careers. And the self-care in that instance is about building, let's say, portfolio or building your skills so that you can get a profession or seek out a profession that you would want.
Wow, that was deep.
Wow.
So in processing everything that you said, my to-do list, you mentioned making it like a diary. That's something I probably should start doing, because typically I make a to-do list for the day or for the week, and then when I'm done with those tasks, I typically throw it away because I'm done with those. I'm on to the next set of things that I need to do. So thinking about it in those terms, I guess having a diary of your to-do list shows you steps along the way of your accomplishments. So that's definitely a new thought that I need to try out.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing that I mentioned, the examples of professional self-care, and that's something that you're always doing. You're always taking seminars, you're always taking virtual learnings sessions, and that, so you're always building on your skills, and that's really important. Especially when times when we have doubt about ourselves, you can look back at all the training you've taken and say, hey, I got this. I'm constantly in training. I'm constantly in the process of learning my profession. I sharpen my own steel blade by continuously learning. I mean, in your field, you have to have so much training per year, right?
Right. I'm supposed to have 180 hours of professional development within 5 years. So every 5 years, I have to renew my license. So 180 hours divided by 5 years. And already this school year, I have surpassed that. I am now up to 387 hours of professional development just for this school year. Last year, I did about 300 hours. The year before, I did, I think, 275 or 280. So I'm well past the 180 that is the requirement. And I do that because, like you said, I want to know more. I work in a field that is constantly changing. Kids' brains are constantly changing. So I have to stay up on the latest techniques to be able to reach them and teach them. And I want to be seen as an expert in my field. And the only way that I'm going to be seen as an expert in my field is I have to do what the other experts in my field have done. So I'm watching them and I'm taking notes and using that as motivation. Like, oh, well, she moved this way or he moved that way. And he went and learned how to do this. And then she went and learned that. So these really famous educators that I look up to in the field, I'm doing those same things that they're doing, because when you want to be successful, you watch successful people and you mimic what they do. So while I'm mimicking what they do, I'm also carving out my own lane, because I don't want to be them. I don't want to, like you said, rule number 1, no biting. So I don't want to be a biter, but I want to be in those same circles. And in order to do that, I got to carve out my own lane, which is exactly what I'm doing, is carving out my own lane within that circle.
Word up. And I got to give you a pat on the back for that. Now, for me, when it comes to professional self-care, I find myself in another circumstance that I briefly went over, is that I'm in between careers or jobs. Right before the pandemic hit, I was the perfect 2 jobs for myself. I found myself delighted in the work that I was doing. Even though I was working 2 jobs, I love both of those jobs equally. Pandemic hit and I haven't been called back to either one of those jobs. So I'm kind of like an in-between stage, So me, myself, I've also been taking a lot of classes, online virtual classes, touching up on some skills like learning more stuff about how to make the podcast more efficient. For those that don't know, me and you, we both have degrees in broadcasting, some sort of field of broadcasting. Mine is in television production and sound engineering, and yours is in television production and radio. So along with touching up on those skills, I've been taking a lot of wellness skills, a lot of self-care classes. I'm also a certified natural health consultant. So I've been trying to bone up on those skills and really sharpen those skills, so that maybe I can get a career in that field or push the podcast to a level where the podcast becomes a career. That would be the dream goal. But along with those skills, keep learning those skills, and those can also be a profession outside of the podcast.
I like that. So as we're talking about this professional self-care, we talked about, upscaling our accomplishments, our accolades, and our knowledge. What's something else that we should be doing, to take care of our career and to nurture our career?
One thing that I would say, well, the main thing is we're always continuing learning on that. Also, I would say investigate potential companies that you want to work for, potential employers, see how they operate. Say, for example, you're an educator. If there's a particular school or position that you want, I would say follow that school, whether it be on social media or follow what they're doing. If you could get a hold of the school newspaper, or if they have virtual classes, maybe watch some of their classes. Make yourself familiar with the heads of staff, the admins, as you guys call them in education. Maybe contact them. If they're doing seminars, make sure you're involved in those seminars. Seriously, network. is something that you can do to boost your professional career, and that would be severe professional self-care. You want to learn as much as possible about that career. You want to, like I said, study the people that are in that career, learn about that career, and it should never be stressful or tedious, because that wouldn't be good self-care. But if something that you love and have a passion for, like in the quote, learn as much as you can and offer it as a service to people. And that's what I see you doing, being in education. You not only always continuously learning about your profession, but you're there to service the kids. And a lot of times in education, people are there for the business aspect of the school. They're either worried about the budget of the school, which, you have to worry about that a little bit. They're either worried about a bunch of other things that isn't the main thing, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to education. And you probably have a dozen of them that you could spit off, but I know what the main thing in far as education is supposed to be about: evolving these young minds to be excellent, educated adults, so that our society can function at an optimum level. And I think in education, a lot of times we lose sight of that. Like I said, we're more concerned about a lot of other stuff. We're worried about the business aspect of school, which I know that has to be focused on that. But the main focus should be about evolving these young minds. That should take top priority over everything. And not just from the admin standpoint, from the teacher standpoint. A lot of these teachers nowadays are in education not as a craft or a passion. They're there for a check. Sometimes a lot of teachers don't even have teacher licenses nowadays, and some of them are more concerned about, I don't know what they're concerned. I'm not going to speak for anybody, but I can see clearly that it's not education as a top priority. So your professional self-care should be about something that's not stressful, something that you have a passion and a desire that you can offer to the world as a service. And also, like I said, the main thing is yourself. Is this something that you feel it is making a difference? If not for the world, is it making a difference for yourself?
I like that. So as you were talking about that, I was thinking there's a song that I absolutely love by this gospel rapper, and he calls himself The Truth. And in the song Who Am I, he says, your greatest frustration is a problem that you are meant to solve. So when we start thinking in terms of career and professional self-care to go with that career, whatever that is, think about what is it in your immediate circle, in our city, in our society, our world as a whole. So you can start really small here and branch all the way out. So think about those things that frustrate you and that upset you. And when you see it happen, you just go, I got to do something about that. That is the beginning of being able to find your passion. I know for some people, it takes them a really long time to find their passion, and that's okay. It really took me a long time too. I have a long line of educators in my family, but I ran from it for so long as a career. I've done lots of other things, and I made more money in lots of those other places than I do, as an educator. But there's no other job I've ever had other than being a wife and a mother that have brought me more joy and excitement than being an educator. And it grew out of, you know, being frustrated by what I saw happening in the schools, kids with low self-esteem and being bullied and beat down by the very people, the teachers that are supposed to be helping them and to lift them up. So I, you know, began like reading books and stuff about, you know, discovering your passion, how to find your passion. Ali has an excellent book called Now, the Purpose Manual. So he has
the Purpose Manual.
Yeah, the Now Purpose Manual. And there's a workbook to go with it. I highly recommend checking out that book. Shout out to Ali, who's been on the show many times now, him and his students. But that book really helps you hone in on those passions. It helps you try to find it and figure it out, because a lot of times we don't know. And unfortunately, when we were coming up through school, we weren't being told about these career options. We were told, oh, you go to college or you go to the military. But there's so many other things out here, so many other ways to serve yourself, your family, and the world as a whole. And you don't always have to go to college, you know. And I would give some you know, I'm not a big advice person, but I would give the advice and say, don't look for money. Look for what's going to make you happy. Because if you're doing what makes you happy, the money will eventually come. But they say if you're doing what you love, then you never work a day in your life. Now, in my current career, I say that that's partially true, because I do work hard and I go hard for my kids, but it is the greatest labor of love, you know, ever. So I definitely, you know, want to encourage our listeners and our viewers to discover your passion. It's not too late, no matter how old you are, no matter how long you've been working the job that you have now. If it's not bringing you joy on a cellular level, then it might be time to rethink, you know, your career. And that's that professional self-care. You have to take care of your career just as much as you take care of your mani-pedis, just as much as you take care of your massages and your body. What you do for a living is going to decrease your stress, up your happiness, up the dopamine that your body produces when you're happy. And who doesn't want to feel good? Right.
It reminds me of when we were prepping for the show, another quote that I saw. You just said something real similar to it about never being too late. And that quote is from an unknown person. It says, it's never too late to be what you might have been.
That's deep.
Yeah, word up. You know, so I'm what they would call middle age. I guess I'm at that midway point. I will be 47 soon. And I'm, like I said, I'm in between, like, what is the next move? But I'm not paranoid about it. What I'm doing is brushing up on my skills, learning as much as I can, educating myself, and really going to, at this age, I don't want to be at a job that I'm going to hate. I did that for many, many, many years before I found those two great jobs. And it really wipes you out. It takes so much out of you that you don't have enough for things that are important to you, like your family and your friends and things that you are passionate about that may be a side thing or a side hustle. And no one should have to do that. And I think one thing the pandemic can show us, if we're really being observant about it, is it's time to reevaluate a lot of the way we have been living in society. From working to the way we eat, simple things like the way we view TVs. I've been saying years, there's no need to go to the movies. I mean, it's nice because you get that feeling of the big screen and everything, but you see people were quick to switch over to everything is going on VOD automatically. And they're still making money. Not the money that the theater's not making the money, but the movie companies are still making the money. But it's give us a chance to reevaluate that we run education. And there's a lot of, I don't want to say misinformation, misnomers, or whatever the word may be. There's a lot of press saying how bad this has been for education. But that's because we're viewing it through someone's eyes that's pushing an agenda. I said before on a show that we should have known in 1973 a better way to educate people, because there was a movie, go check it out, Fantastic Planet, where they had the education system down. They had virtual learning basically, and people didn't even have home computers in 1973. So it's, it's giving us a chance. If we stop watching all this bad news and it is misinformation. It's an agenda-based information. There are some kids that are going to struggle because they don't have someone there to kind of guide them in little portions that they might need to. But for the most part, I'm guessing on this number, but for the most part, I would say 85% of students, 13 to 18, middle school to high school graduates, have cell phones and they have smartphones. So they know how to operate on a computer. This was our chance to rechange education. And there's so many people pushing that it's a bad situation because they want you to live in fear and torment all of the time. That's why you're here flying with us, so you can get some real self-care.
I like it. Yeah, there's definitely an agenda, and I even wrote an article for Speak Woman magazine about that, saying the kids are going to be all right. We have to give our children credit for being resilient, for being resourceful, for knowing what they need in order to feel whole. And this is a perfect time for us adults to be quiet and listen to what our young people have to say. Wow. We are so indoctrinated in this. You go to school for 7 hours a day, the teacher's in charge, you listen to the teacher, you get these regurgitated facts that they're shoving down your throat, you take a test, and that proves how smart you are. Mm-hmm. And we fail to realize that we were learning and teaching our children long before they ever went to school.
Right.
So I've had so many conversations with so many different people. I've made Facebook statuses about it, that the way that we adults think, act, and function, the children are going to follow our lead. So if we are running around like our hair is on fire and we act like we don't know where water is to put out the fire, what are we teaching our children? If we are handling all of the mandates and all the things that we don't necessarily like, we're handling it in stride, our kids are going to follow suit. They're going to watch what we're doing and they're going to mimic what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So, I say that to say that the kids are all right and they're going to be fine. If you are a parent and you are doing your thing as a parent, your kids are going to be just fine. Stop looking for somebody else to come in and save you or save your child or save the day when you are their Superman, you are their Batman, you are their Wonder Woman.
And for those that do need help navigating, because we've heard this joke for years now about new math, there are different techniques of teaching that you may not have been taught in school, but there are a countless amount of resources, yes, free resources to help you navigate through all these situations that we've been going through. Like I said, there is an intentional agenda to make you feel bad about it. But all you got to do is go down that other road and you could get the help, information that you need. Absolutely. And that's what we have to start doing. We have to turn off the news. The news is the devil. It depresses you. It makes you feel bad. If you want to feel, like I said before, music and the news are probably the worst things in our society right now. The music makes you feel bad and the news makes you feel bad. Cut them off. You don't have to watch it. Yes, you need to have in contact with information. Some people say they watch the whole newscast to get to the weather. You can As soon as I turn on my phone, it tells me what the weather is, and then I could click a button and it tells me what the weather's going to be for a week. If you're watching the news for the stock ticker, you can just go to the stock ticker. You know, what else are you getting out of the news besides the first 15 minutes of gloom and doom? If you need to know about new laws, all you have to do is go to your local government's website or your state government's website. We are now on autopilot for allowing ourselves to be programmed to be sad and miserable. And we don't have to be.
No, we don't. So one of the ways you can not be sad and miserable is to practice good self-care in all aspects of your life: financial, physical, professional, mental, spiritual. So with that, what's our assignment for this week?
So we've been talking about professional self-care. So the self-care assignment for this week is very simple. Update your resume. Now, that doesn't mean just type in your resume. Update your skills. Learn something. But most importantly, real easy, pull out your resume and update it.
Wow.
And along with that, apply for that job that you think that you can't get. The worst they could tell you is no. Update your resume and apply for the job that you want. Now, to my favorite part of the show. Doom, 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 doom. Brain science, science, science.
All right, so we've been talking about professional self-care. You have your self-care assignment for this week, but let me tell you why it's important. So 15 reasons to start following your dream today. For one, you've always wanted to do this. If you had $1 million, what would you do with your life? Me personally, I can say exactly what I'm doing now. If you can't answer that question, then you need to do some soul searching and figure it out. You've always wanted to follow your dream, so start today. You'll experience things you never have imagined. The pursuit of a dream will give you experiences you never thought were possible. You will become courageous. You will stare your fears right in the face and become a courageous person as you watch those things that you thought were monumental become footstools for you. You will become an inspiration to those around you. When you focus on your dreams and not what others want you to do, they will do the same. You will realize the incredible things that you are capable of doing. I often tell my students, you can do hard things and you're going to be better for it afterwards. We need to purposely tell ourselves we are capable. We are not these fearful little peons in the corner. We are magical. Walk in your magic. You'll like yourself more. You're going to feel excited and energized by the life that you are choosing to live. You're going to feel proud about what you're doing, and you will like yourself more for it at the end of the day. Your life will become more beautiful. As you realize your own potential, you will realize the potential in others. You will start to recognize the beauty that life, you, and the others have to offer. Number 8, your joy and happiness will become contagious. When people are around you, they will feel better about themselves and their lives because you are living proof that it is possible to live a dream. You will connect on a deeper level with the forces of the universe. The pursuit of a dream requires an act of faith. You step forward and take action. When you do this, you will face experiences that will bring you closer to the force of the universe. My favorite, you will smile more. Life is so much better when you smile more. If you follow your dreams, you will enjoy yourself, and those smiles will come naturally. It will give meaning to everything you do. Before I started following my dream, I often wondered what was the point? What was the point of trying? This is where I am. This is my life, and so be it. Now, I can look at every action that I take, and it's bringing me more joy and bringing me more closer to my ultimate dream. Here's a big one. Your food will taste better. Yeah, you heard me. When you step forward with your dream, you will feel more alive, and you will better appreciate the beauty that life has to offer. So yes, even your food tastes better. Every day, you'll learn new things. Every day, you are challenged, and you will be excited about the challenges that you faced. The deeper that you get into your dreams, the more you learn. Your happiness will show on your face. It is very true. When you are optimistic, excited, and happy, guess what? You are drastically more attractive. I have to pause on that one. The very last one, number 15. You will love being around you. I know you've seen those people who can't seem to ever be alone, or they can't function by themselves. That won't be you. When you pursue a dream, you are connecting with your heart's desires. It is a way of telling your soul, I love you. It's pretty great to hang out with people you love, especially when it's yourself. So I'll leave you with the final thoughts. What has stopped you from following your dream, and what are you going to do about it? Bars.
Yo, as always, thank you for flying with us. Please continue to fly with us. You can find our podcast on anywhere you find your favorite podcast. We are on SoundCloud, we're on Facebook, IG, Twitter, Anchor, Spotify, Apple Music Podcast. But one other thing, please invite your friends to like us on Facebook. You can go to our Facebook page, scroll down to where it says invite friends, and invite your friends and allow them to take this flight with you and us to make this world a better place. If you can. It's your boy Picket Fence.
It's your girl, Lady Bounce.
We out of here.
We out.